looks okay as well.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
checking.
good.
Yeah,
Looks good. Yeah,
thanks for
good
that.
to go.
Okay, so uh, it's okay to start.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Hi all. Thanks for joining the session. And we will be talking about Dynamics 365 human resources and Power Virtual Agents in my session. It's been a great set of sessions already about HR, and we have a few more coming up. But just a quick introduction about me. I'm Kamal. I work as a Dynamics 365 consultant with a focus on human resources from a domain standpoint. I'm working for a Microsoft ISV called Forvision. I live in the Netherlands with my family. I'm originally from India. I've been working in human resources for a while, trying to help out HR teams blend in with technology. A very quick disclaimer before we start the session. And what I've planned for today's session is kind of get a helicopter view of what human resources is and how Dynamics 365 HR comes into play, and also how it aligns with Power Platform and the rest of the business applications. We've had a great set of introduction and overview already, but just to set the context and go into Power Virtual Agents a little bit in the domain of human resources, we'll kind of review it once more and start off with Power Virtual Agents. And the goal of today's session is for us to be able to build a very simple chatbot that can help analyze employees' wellness from time to time and just help employees answer a few questions so that they can go about day-to-day activities and see how their mood is. So that's a bit about what I've planned. We'll go into the details as we progress. So to start off, I want to set the context about what human resources is. Many of you will be working around human resources, and some of you will be working, from the rest of the business processes like finance or supply chain on projects. So from a human resource perspective, what we see now on screen is a very simple HR process. We have a company called Hogwarts Manufacturing that you see. And let's say the company gets a new project, and the company has to deliver the project with its end customers, and you have a set of managers within the company who will try to analyze what the requirements are for the project, and they realize they need a set of new people to be able to deliver the project successfully. So they reach out to the HR team, and the HR teams basically try to work on the recruitment projects, trying to understand what the requirements are from the business and how do they fill in those requirements with new people. And once they have all of that and analyzed and defined, they will reach out to different job sourcing websites. For example, LinkedIn is a job sourcing website where they can post jobs and candidates can apply for those jobs. And once the candidate applications come through to the HR teams, they can start the candidate journey in terms of recruitment process, where the HR teams interact with the candidates, schedule interviews, and progress those employees between different interview steps. And eventually, there will be a successful candidate to fill in the job, and we have a new hire. So that is a new employee joining the company. Once the employee is part of the company, the employee life cycle kicks in. In the employee life cycle, you have different processes like vacation or performance management or sickness or time registration, etc. So employees will go through all these life cycle processes on a regular basis, and eventually either the employee leaves the company to join a new organization, or retire within the company. They stay long enough that they retire in the company. So this is just a very high level overview of what human resources looks like from a process standpoint. And like you would have seen, you have dedicated HR teams, and in some companies, based on the volumes or the number of employees you have in the company, you either have a shared responsibility where one person or a couple of people are managing all the processes, or in a larger organization, you have dedicated HR departments and teams managing individual processes. So that's a bit of background about human resources. And next, when we look at what Dynamics 365 Human Resources is as a product, Dynamics 365 Human Resources is a cloud-based software as a service solution that is built to transform and connect the experiences of three groups of individuals. The first one is HR professionals. So you have HR teams managing all the employee lifecycle activities, and you have managers who are basically trying to support the business. Like you have a set of managers managing employees in their team to be able to deliver the end user requirements. Like, for example, if you consider a retail organization, you can have a set of retail associates working for a manager who are trying to sell things to end customers. And you have employees who are part of a company and they're trying to deal with employee lifecycle changes, like applying for leave or going through a performance review or getting compensation or payroll, etc. So the goal of the product is really to connect these three groups of individuals together so that they have a seamless experience and one view of what HR data is all about. So that I would say is the goal of the solution. And from Microsoft's perspective, when we look at the overall strategy of how Dynamics 365 human resources comes into play with the rest of the business application stack, you can see that even with the latest updates and the product roadmap and how the product is being enhanced in the latest releases, you see that the goal is to provide a seamless IT solution experience. What I mean by that is basically from an end user perspective, as a HR team or as a IT architect on the customer side, Dynamics 365 Human Resources sits very closely and seamlessly integrated with the rest of the business application stack from Microsoft, and also Power Platform, and not just those two from a business application standpoint, but also with the Microsoft 365 applications like integration with Excel or integration with Teams, which is the latest enhancement. And also, it's all seamlessly hosted and managed on Azure. So in the end, the goal from Microsoft is to kind of connect HR teams and the IT teams together so that the application is supporting the entire IT solution requirements of an organization with HR in focus. So that's a bit about what Dynamics 365 Human Resources as a product is, and how I perceive it when I'm working with it with my customers. And what really happens in the world of Dynamics 365 Human Resources is, like we saw in the previous session from Anna, it kind of provides a rich set of functionality in various areas of HR. And this slide is really an overview of what capabilities Dynamics 365 Human Resources offers to customers. And like Raz and Anna were discussing, it's one of the areas in Dynamics which can really add a lot of value to the customers and also to partners and projects, where if when focused on can deliver a good amount of HR capabilities and expand the use of Dynamics as a solution within customer organizations. And it's good to kind of quickly run through this. I won't be doing a demo on this one because we already saw the overview and details of the demo. So just to see the connecting pieces, we have different workspaces, as they call it in the world of Dynamics. So you have different workspaces, which is focused on individual capabilities that the product offers. And one of the workspace is system administration workspace, which you can view as an overview of managing the IT lifecycle of the application, like managing preview features, enabling new capabilities that are being enhanced, for example, or migrating data into the application when we are working on a data migration as part of the project, or setting up email accounts or email configuration, etc. So that's all part of system administration. Then we have organization admin, which is primarily focused from a HR and finance standpoint to be able to define the legal and country structure of a company. An example can be that, let's say there's a Hogwarts Retail as a company which is operating in Netherlands and Germany. So you have two legal entities that you need to define, and they have different departments, like customer success is a department, or HR is a department, finance is a department. So you can use org administration to really define the country legal and department structure. The other bit that you can do with organization administration is define jobs and positions. So jobs and positions is always a bit tricky in terms of how it is being used from a HR process perspective. In a very simple term, I would say jobs are like a brand of a chair, and positions are multiple chairs. An example can be that, let's say in Hogwarts Retail, you need retail associates who are trying to sell products to end customers. So retail associate is a job, and you have, let's say, 10 retail associates working in Germany and 10 working in Netherlands. So 20 positions are created using the job retail associate. So that's the simplest way of putting it together. And so that's jobs and positions. And all this can be defined as part of organization administration. So that's a bit of a capability overview around org admin. Then we have personal management. And in very simple terms, it's a workspace that is focused on HR administrators, like people who manage capturing and maintaining employee data. And it supports the hire to retire life cycle. So from the point that you're hiring an employee till the point that the employee leaves the company, all of that is being done in personal management workspace or capability. So the rest of the capability is really supporting a seamless employee experience. So, employees always at the center of Dynamics 365 HR in terms of the capability that it is offering. So we have employee development, which is focused on performance and goal management. Then we have compensation and benefits, which is a set of capabilities that helps in capturing the most critical data, like, for example, what is the fixed compensation that the employee is earning, or what is the bonus plan that the employee is part of. It can be a 5% bonus or a 10% bonus, etc. And a set of benefits that the employees will be part of. There's been a lot of enhancements in terms of the capability around benefits in release 2020 wave 1 and wave 2. So it's the goal in the end is to capture such critical data in a compliant manner, and that is how the product is progressing, and the product team is kind of working on enhancing the capability to reach the legal compliance needed for each localization. Then we have employee and manager self-service. The endpoint or the goal of employee and manager self-service is to really give access to data, which will help employees and managers kind of take control in terms of the information they need and the information they have to provide to the HR teams. And that will really help them improve their efficiency in their day jobs. For example, like Anna mentioned, if an employee wants to request leave with Dynamics 365 HR and Teams integration coming into place, there's an easy way of employees and managers coordinating on leave. And that really adds value and improves the efficiency of the process. And eventually, on a global organization level, it drives the way the employee engagement is changing, and it helps employees be more proactive and managers be more proactive and take decisions quickly and support teams overall from a business standpoint. Then we have learning. Learning is a capability that Dynamics 365 HR offers to keep track of employee courses and administration of those courses. Like you can define a set of courses that a different set of employees need to complete. And when the courses are completed, it adds the relevant skills or certificates onto employee records. So that's something that is quite interesting to look at and see how it can help organizations capture the data. Because when we look at the session from Marlon and Thomas, we saw that the data related to the skills and competencies are primarily managed by HR teams and employees and managers, and that has to stay there. And it really helps in trying to look at making that process efficient, gathering the data on the system, and giving employees access to enroll themselves into courses, etc. So all of that is done on learning from a capability standpoint. Leave and absence is one of the most enhanced solutions in the recent times. There's been a lot of investment from Microsoft to make the solution strong and flexible from what it was a couple of years ago. And the investments are mainly focused in two areas. One is to support the localizations across the globe because leave and absence rules changes per country. And at the moment, there's been quite a lot of changes to support individual localizations in Europe, for example, or in the US. The other aspect of the investment from Microsoft is to really improve the employee experience. And that has been a core focus in terms of how employees use Dynamics 365 HR. And we will see in the next session, for example, how Dynamics 365 HR is integrated with Teams using an app, and how leave and absence is a key component of that part. The last part I would highlight is reporting and analytics. We had a look at some of the reports and analytics that are delivered out of the box in the previous session. So the key takeaway is that all of that is delivered out of the box from day one. So the moment we start with the journey of implementing the solution with the HR teams and we have the data in the application, we are able to make use of the reporting and analytics that comes out of the box. All the basic requirements like the FTE and headcount based on departments or jobs are all available out of the box. The demographic information is available, and on individual. So the reporting and analytics is one of the areas that is available on almost all the functional areas like compensation or benefits or leave management or performance management. You have reports available out of the box. So that really helps in making HR teams gain control in terms of the data, keep it up to date, and also help the executive teams drive strategic decisions. Like examples can be like, if for example, in the coming period, there's a transformation happening in a business. If you consider an example of an electric car industry, you have a company which is manufacturing cars and they need to move from regular IC engines to electric engines. So they need a different set of skills to meet that demand. And the key component of analyzing that is the HR data. And one part is to reporting and analytics. The other part is to know what skills your employee or workforce has, and based on that, you can define maybe skilling up programs or to hire new employees, etc. So that's really a high-level overview of what happens in the world of Dynamics 365 HR when we work on projects. And most of the time, all of this data is cross-functional, so it interacts with finance, it interacts with everything else, every other business process. So that's what we will look at in the next slide. So what we are looking at, or what I'm trying to explain now, is Dynamics 365 HR is one of the solutions that works very closely with the rest of the finance and operations apps like supply chain management, finance, or project service automation. It was part of finance and operations in the past, and it's made separate now. There are some integration capabilities that are supported by Microsoft, and some which are coming up as extended requests from customers. And one of the scenarios we saw was the session from Marlon and Thomas. So in the end, we have the capability to do it, and Microsoft Dataverse is the way to is a central platform that you can use to integrate either with finance and operations apps or with first-party customer engagement applications like commerce or sales. So that is the overview of how Dynamics 365 HR kind of operates in the space of business applications. The other aspect of it is the integration with Power Platform. So in the end, data is the key component of any integration or extensibility. So Microsoft Dataverse, with the latest enhancement of virtual entities, you have access to almost all the data from Dynamics 365 HR. Which can be used in order to extend solutions using Power Apps, Power Automate, or Power BI, or Power Virtual Agents in terms of the extensibility scenarios that you see with customers or localization requirements. So this is one of the things you can consider, and there's a lot of extended solutions offered by partners, and you can have a look at it and see if it meets a business requirement, and an easy way to go by adopting those extended solutions. So when we look at the next topic, that is Power Virtual Agents. So this is really a short overview of my journey with Power Virtual Agents in the recent times. I started exploring this with the intention of understanding what Power Virtual Agents is and how it can support human resources as a domain. So that was my exploration. And in today's session, I will just walk you through the overview of what I've learned and how it can help human resources. So to start with, what are Power Virtual Agents? So I put together this slide to kind of summarize what I mean by PVA from my perspective. And you see, we have an employee who has a set of questions, for example. And when the employee starts interacting with the bot or a Power Virtual Agent, it's really the outcome of that interaction is basically a simulated conversation, which looks like the employee is talking to a real person. And we do this most of the time when we buy something online. You have a chatbot which is supporting your query, and the goal of a Power Virtual Agent is really to simulate the conversation like it's a natural conversation. But in the end, what happens in the background is really a chatbot has a set of topics in a library. So it has a set of FAQs, if I can say that, and each FAQ has a set of keywords and phrase. Like, for example, can I know where to find the leave policy of my company is a question that the employee has, and the chatbot will basically search the topic library and see where the leave policies SharePoint location is, and the outcome from the bot is to find the location and send it back to the employee. And that's a successfully solved problem. And in some cases, the problem is not solved, and the question has to be routed to a live agent. So this we kind of go through this process on a regular basis. So if I buy something from an online store and I have a problem with the product that I've received, then I do this with the chatbot on the company's website. And when the chatbot is not able to resolve my query, then it would route the question to a live agent, and either the live agent will answer my question on the chat, or they will call me and have a discussion about it. So that's an overview of what we can achieve using Power Virtual Agents. And really looking back in time, let's say a few years ago, in order to achieve a capability or artificial intelligence like this, it would have been quite complex, and it would need a lot of development and AI specialists or data scientists, or a lot of specialized skills to achieve something like that. And with Power Virtual Agents, what Microsoft has really done is made it look like a citizen developer tool, if I can call that. So which is basically for somebody like me who's more working on the functional side of solving business problems. I can try to explore defining or designing a solution using a Power Virtual Agent for some of the scenarios in human resources. And that was a fascinating journey for me when I started, and it kind of relates more with Power Platform. So I started exploring that. And when we go to the next part of Power Virtual Agents, just to understand a bit more of what it really comprises of when you start building a Power Virtual Agent next. So in each of the topic library, you will have two types of topics. So one is system topic and the other is lesson topics. Like I said, it will have a set of trigger phases and responses in it. So trigger phase can be hello, and then the chatbot responds with some of the options that the chatbot is built to do. Let's say if you have a chatbot which is built to help employees find the right HR policies, then it can respond telling what policy do you want to find. And you can say other example can be if you want to check if the employee's mood is okay or not, then the chatbot can ask a question, how are you feeling today? So that's really what goes on in the background. And the difference between these two topics, system topic and lesson topics, are really when you start building a bot, all the system topics are always on. So it has a greeting topic, or it has an end of conversation topic, which is always on and is necessary for the chatbot to function. And lesson topics are the topics that are meant for the person who's trying to build the bot, customize it. It's more about adding more information or giving the knowledge to the chatbot to be able to solve the problems that are coming up from the end users, like employees. So you can add information like all the details about the policies, or different types of employee moods and what they should do if they're facing a certain situation. So that's what is happening in the background of a chatbot. So what we will do next is have a look at how these two worlds come together. So in the end, Dynamics 365 Human Resources is a IT solution that is helping the business on the human resources side, and Power Virtual Agents is also an IT solution that can help multiple areas of the business. So the goal is to kind of get them close together and see what business problems can they support or improve in an organization. So this is an overview of some of the practical scenarios that we can think of when we consider using Power Virtual Agent in the domain of human resources. So the first one is employee buddy for new employees. So let's say you have an employee joining your company. You can have a Power Virtual Agent created which can give them sufficient information, easily accessible on a phone or on a tablet or laptop. So that's one of the practical use cases that can help employees navigate the initial days, like finding the coffee machine or finding a certain person who can help with the IT problem, with the laptop they have, etc. And the other thing that can be quite helpful from a HR team perspective is the HR policy FAQ. So, for example, like Anna said, HR teams are most of the times overloaded in terms of managing the business requirements. But at the same time, employees and managers have questions coming up, from time to time. Like, I am an employee, for example, in my own experience, the leave policy is changing maybe compared to the previous year. And I would want to understand more about the leave policy, and I want to find it quickly. So you can have a chatbot for it. That can really, help you, just help as an employee, just get the information of where to go find the policy. And rather than me reaching out to the HR team and asking, what, I have this question, can you explain me? So the Power Virtual Agents can really support HR teams in solving the regular questions, which doesn't really need human intervention as a first line of support. And in the end, if an employee is having a specific question, like, for example, I had a problem with my payroll run and my salary is not correct, that's a problem that chatbot will not be able to solve immediately, because that needs checking, and maybe there's a tax policy change, etc. in the country. But how a chatbot can support that is gather the information from the employee and pass it on to the payroll admin, so that they have sufficient information when they start discussing it with the employee. So that really saves time and improves efficiency in terms of how the process is running and how the engagement is running between the employees and the HR teams. So that's one of the other use cases that we can consider for a PVA scenario. The next one is an interesting one, and we will build that chatbot today. So employee wellness and mood checker. So with the current scenario of all of us working from home, a lockdown for almost a year, and curfews in the evening, with all the flexible work schedules, there will be scenarios when employees do face some fatigue and overwhelm, or they have some challenges, or they need some kind of a checkpoint, on a daily basis, or on a frequent basis, where employees can go and do a mood check based on maybe some instruction from the HR policy and HR guidelines. The chatbot can help them understand, or just give some information on what to do when they are in a particular situation. If an employee is sad, what are the possibilities? If an employee is very happy, maybe they can just go and spread that happiness with other employees, etc. So you can also build a chatbot to support that. And one of the other most common use cases that I've seen when we work with customers is finding out details about an office location and what is inside the office where. Like, where is the coffee machine, where is the restaurant, or where can I find some stationery, etc. You can always go around and check for it, but it can also be that you have a chatbot which is giving you clear instructions, or in a scenario where you have employees who are traveling between locations. Like, I'm an employee in the Netherlands and I have to visit the Germany office for a day, then I can just go to the office, and if the chatbot has the information, I can ask the chatbot, where can I find a coffee machine in Germany. Then maybe it'll just say by the stairs in the first floor, something like that. So that's also something that can help improve the employee experience overall and find information easily. And it's, like I said, it's always accessible on the phone. That really adds a lot of value in terms of employees being mobile after all the COVID situation we are facing. So that's about some of the scenarios that we can consider in the world of human resources. Next, what we will do is we will really get into the system a little bit and start working on a chatbot. So I have the HR available, and So the first step is really you need to have a trials environment if you're exploring this, or you can work on a test environment on your customer side. So I'm opening the Maker portal of Power Apps, and you see different options. Anna, just a quick check. Can you see the browser now?
No, we're still seeing your slide.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. Let me share. Okay. Now, Anna, just check.
Yes, now it's working. Perfect.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah. So I've opened the Maker portal of one of my environments, and just a quick point: if you have access to multiple Power Platform environments, just make sure you select the correct one. So I'm using a test drive, which is a trial environment that I have. And then we have chatbots on the left-hand side. I can click on create. Just before I go ahead and create the chatbot, I will just quickly walk you through the steps of what we will be doing. So we will basically work on creating a topic library, add some lesson topics, add some trigger phases and responses, and publish the bot. And in the end, we will add the bot into Dynamics 365 HR. So that's an overview of what we will be doing. So the first step is to create a bot. And I want to create a basic conversation bot. So when I click on basic conversation bot, it opens the Power Virtual Agent. It's like a Maker portal, but dedicated for Power Virtual Agents. And yeah, it's loading. Yes. So we will be creating employee wellness checker demo. You have a lot of language support. So at the moment, I'm selecting English. And you can see the environment where the bot is getting deployed. So that's test drive, the environment that I want to use. So this takes a couple of a minute or so where it gets the basic chatbot ready so that we can start adding the lesson topics that we want to. So in the meantime, I'll just quickly walk you through the process again. So we are at the step of creating a bot. So once the initial bot is ready, then we will have a topic library to add, where we will add some lesson topics. So let's go back, see if it's done. Takes a minute or so for it to get the initial build complete. In the meantime, if any of you have any questions, I can quickly take them, or if there's anything coming up on the chat.
We don't have.
Okay, good. Okay,
We don't have any questions so far, so.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. I think it's almost ready. Okay, good. So this is the interface of a Power Virtual Agent. You have topics on the side. So I will quickly open the topics. Just a short overview of the system topics. So like I said, there are a set of system topics which are marked always on. And there are a set of sample lesson topics that are added by default. So I can switch them off if necessary. But I will just go ahead and add a new topic, employee mode checker. friendly name under description. A trigger phase can be the employee will just come in and say, I'm not feeling good, or mood check. So those are the trigger phases when this topic will be picked up, and then I will just save the topic. So once the topic is saved, we can go to the authoring canvas. So authoring canvas is really the way of interacting or creating the knowledge base for the chatbot. So the message, so when there's a trigger phase called mood check, then the chatbot will say, welcome to the mood checker. Let's start. You feel. And then the response can be ask a question, show a message. No, sorry, not that. We will add a response with a question where we say, tell me what you are feeling. And then it will be a multiple choice question where the employee can select either the employee is feeling sad, or the employee is feeling happy, or the employee is feeling angry. So the moment I add a choice, for example, then automatically the authoring canvas is showing me 3 different options. So if the employee is feeling sad, then we can show a message to the employee, take a break, have a cup of coffee, chat with your colleague. So let's say that is a message. And after that message, you want to end the conversation. So I can end it with a survey. If the employee is happy, you can show a message telling that, okay, that's great. Spread your happiness with other employees. And then you can end the message. You can end the conversation with a survey again. If the employee is feeling angry, you can just show a message, discuss, or you can ask a question first. So if the employee is angry about something, we can ask a question. Are you angry about work or family? Then the employee can say work or family. And then based on the response from the employee, you can show a message. If the employee is angry about work, there is something to discuss. So discuss with your manager about the problems, or reach out to the HR wellness team. Example. And you can give some information how to reach out to somebody, for example, or if it's with the family, then you can say take some time, discuss what's bothering you with the family, and that helps, or reach out to the wellness team. Okay, so just a simple chatbot with a few topics and a few trigger phrases and responses. So now let's save the chatbot, and we will do topic checker. So everything looks okay on the topics. I'm not modifying the system topics for the moment. But the next step is, of course, to publish. So if you look at the overview, so we have added some trigger phases and responses. We will just publish the Power Virtual Agent now. So I'm on the Publish tab, and I click on Publish. So the chatbot is published. The next step is to go to Channels. So channels are basically explaining the options that you have of using this chatbot in different ways. So for example, if you use the demo website, so demo website is a way of accessing this chatbot in a temporary website that's created by PVA. So when I open the demo website, it just opens the chatbot in a nice window, and I can start interacting with the chatbot. So if I say mood check, then it would start getting the messages. So let's say, welcome to the mood checker. Let's start the journey of what you're feeling. Tell me about your feelings. So whether I'm happy, sad, or angry. So this is the journey on the custom website. But what we really want to do is get this experience into Dynamics 365 Human Resources. So I'm selecting a custom website, and I'm copying the URL of the bot like this. And I am opening Dynamics 365 Human Resources. So this is the landing page of Dynamics 365 HR. I want to embed this chatbot experience on employee self-service. So let's say if an employee is coming to self-service for maybe checking leave balance or looking at compensation, etc., I want this capability to be available. So we will have a look at how to make that work. So I've opened the employee self-service workspace. And when we go to options, personalize this page, there's an option called add an app. So on three dots here on the customization panel, so I select add an app. If I select this area, it gives me an option to whether add a Power App or website. There is a way to embed a chatbot within a Canvas app, but that's a bit more complex using PCF. And Yesh Agarwal has written a blog post about it. I will embed it in my update of the session, so you can have a look at it if you're planning to embed it within a Canvas app. But we will just make it very simple. We will use a website, employee wellness checker, and paste the URL that we copied. And when we save it, if I go here on the menu, I can see the employee wellness checker coming up, and I can see the chatbot embedded in the employee self-service workspace. So let's say employee comes into the workspace and starts typing in the chatbot. So let's say I'm feeling happy. So then it would just give the message that we used in the response. So that's great. Spread your happiness with other employees, and it is ending the chat with a survey. So I can say yes, and I can rate if the experience was good. So that's an overview of how you can really get the experience of a PVA into Dynamics 365, irrespective of whether it's HR or finance or any other application. So that is one way of doing it. And like I said, there are options for you to embed this experience on Canvas apps or in model-driven apps, but that's a different way of achieving that. So that's what I have planned for the demo. So just to reiterate the steps that we followed, we opened the Maker portal, created a bot. We opened the topics library. We added a new topic, which is a lesson topic for mood checking. And then we added a set of trigger phases and responses. And then we published the chatbot. And there are a couple of options once the chatbot is published on how you want to expose it to your audience. And we use the option of getting the URL of the chatbot from the custom website channel and embedded it within the Dynamics 365 Human Resources self-service. So that was about how to build a chatbot using PVA, and how we can embed it in D365. So the last topic what I have is the bit about how PVA can help employee experience. So I've made an overview of what I think is a value add in terms of how Power Virtual Agents can really add to employee experience. The first one is it can be used by employees almost all the time, and it can be used on phones and tablets. So that really helps getting access to information easily and more efficiently, and also stops the first line of support that is given by the HR teams. So that saves time for the employees, that saves time for the HR teams, and it improves the efficiency of the process overall. Then we have a multiple language support. So we have to, when we look at solutions like this, we start thinking of global organizations which are present in different countries, operating in different languages. So and that is where the actual efficiency is also driven, because when you're solving this problem for multiple countries in different languages, it really saves a lot of time for a lot of people. So that it's, at the moment we have 15 languages supported on PVA, and 5 preview languages available. Then we also have capabilities where the bot can route the information to HR teams when not answered. So, for example, you can capture the responses from the employees, and package them and send the information. Let's say if the employee is asking a question in the evening where nobody is available, you can package the information and send a email using Power Automate. And then we have multiple publishing options. So what we saw was embed the chatbot within Dynamics as an experience. You can also do that embedding the chatbot within Microsoft Teams, or if you have an official Facebook page for any reason, etc. So you have quite a few options to consider there. And also, once the chatbot is live and employees are using it for asking questions, they can look at the performance of the bot and the engagement of how the chatbot is operating on a live environment. And using that information, they can improve the knowledge base of the chatbot, so they can add more information, or they can make the information more specific. So that can really help in driving a long-term employee engagement with the bot, and also to improve the answers that the chatbot is trying to provide to the employees. So this is an overview of how PVA can help employee experience. I do have one last topic which we did not look at from a demo perspective. So we had a very simple scenario of building an employee mood checker chatbot and embedding it in D365. But there are some advanced capabilities that you can look at if you have a complex scenario to solve. So you have usage of entities and slot filling, which is focused on helping the chatbot process the natural language that the employees may use. So there's a lot of documentation around it that you can refer to, and improve your bot with this capability. You can use variables to capture the information that the employees are putting into the chatbot, and maybe use the information from the variable in the next step, or in a later on a different topic, or send the information using Power Automate as an email, for example. You have a capability, which this is quite interesting. You have a capability where you can create a set of topics from existing support content. So you can put in a URL, and the chat and PVA can analyze the information and create a set of topics automatically. So you don't have to really copy paste everything from the scratch if you have a lot of FAQs built in. So that's something that you can consider for a quick go live scenario. Then you can add end user authentication. So for example, if you want to make sure that this bot is accessed only by the internal organization, you can use authentication service between PVA and Azure to get the user authenticated before the chatbot starts responding. And you can also add actions to route information or interact with Power Automate. So that is capable. And once you kind of start interacting with Power Automate, the amount of flexibility and capability you can use becomes very vast. And you can make use of a lot of options in Power Automate in terms of how you process the information. The last topic is about triggering handoff to a live agent. So in a typical CRM scenario where you have customers coming back to a chatbot to check some questions, and if not answered, it can be handed over to a live agent. There is a capability where the integration is seamless, and like the end of the chatbot kind of delivers all the information that is already discussed with the customer into the live agent screens on CRM side. So that way the information is not lost, and the live agent can pick up from where the chatbot left off. So that's functionality to look at if you're keen in kind of working on those scenarios. So there's quite a bit of documentation, and there's a lot of content from the community on all of this. So I started learning by looking at the videos from Tomasz and John Levesque. So you can have a look at them, and I will write a post or share the information related to this session with all the relevant community blog posts. So have a look at that and explore the possibilities to solve some of the customer scenarios. So that was it from me. And a very short bit about how you can connect with me. So you can reach out to me on my blog, nocodehr.com. I'm writing this blog focused on Dynamics 365 human resources and a bit of Power Platform from time to time. I focus on two specific areas. So one is about the product features. So you can find a lot of information about different product features and maybe some of the scenarios that can help in customer requirements, and also the product roadmap. So I write regular updates on the roadmap and the enhancements that are coming through on the product roadmap of Dynamics 365 HR. There's a huge amount of investment from Microsoft in the world of HR over the last 2 years and also in the future. So have a look at it when you find time, and connect with me on my email or LinkedIn. I'm mostly active on LinkedIn, so reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to discuss any of the scenarios around HR or Power Platform. So I'm still on the learning journey of Power Platform. So just reach out to me. Happy to discuss and connect with all of you. Thanks for your time. I hope you find it helpful, and thanks a lot.
Kamal, we have a few questions in the chat that we
Okay.
can address if you want to.
Okay.
There are some of them.
Yeah.
I don't think we can take all of them, but just to choose the one that you like the most, and you can reach out to the attendees after the session to answer the others.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So I think the licensing bit from Syed, there's maybe we have to take that offline. So I will maybe reach out to you offline about licensing. Is PVA only for simple chat Q&A, or can we add cards with data for HR or D365 F&O? That's an interesting one. There is some capability, like I said. So the question is more about, can we also show information coming from Dynamics 365 or business applications? There is capability where we can fetch the data and show it. Like, for example, if you have, let's say in a typical order processing scenario, if a customer comes back and checks what is the status of my order, then there is a capability where you can go into, let's say, customer relationship management, and then get the information from the database and show that the order is on the way or something like that. So there is some content about it, Syed. I will have a chat with you and share that with you later. I think that was it. The last one, if I can, Anna. Chatbot interact with external users outside of our tenant, let's say a job applicant talking to an embedded PVA on the job portal. Yes, that is a very interesting scenario, Vijesh. So you can create a chatbot and embed it on your career portal. So if for example, you have a company job portal, you can create a chatbot with a lot of information around your recruitment process, and embed the chatbot in the career portal, so that you can quickly give information to the number of steps you have, etc. So that's an interesting way. And I think Rafael has already answered one of the questions about adaptive cards. So yes, I think with that, if it's okay, I will end, and I will reach out to some of the questions and people who have any feedback directly on LinkedIn.
Okay. Great, sounds good. We have only 2 minutes to go, so yeah, it will be nice if you can reach out to the other questions that we have in the chat. I'm sure, yeah, there's lots of questions there, so if you can address that through LinkedIn or any other social media, that will be great. There are also great ideas for blog posts. So yeah. Thank you very much for your time and for your session, a very interesting one. And I'm really happy that we're seeing integration with Dynamics and Power Platform. Thank you very much. The next presenter is Rafael.
Thank you.
I'm very pleased to invite him to present. So he will be talking about integration between HR and Teams, sorry, HR and Teams. If you could stop there you go. Thank you very much. So, Rafael, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
So nice to listen to you.
I'm really happy to be with